Hello, I'm Michael Andrake, Director of Ground Zero Minnesota. Ground Zero is a nonprofit public education group dedicated to informed democracy. We provide educational support to teachers and students in the upper Midwest. We're going to discuss a difficult topic today, corruption of our federal government. Because the subject is controversial, I'll spend a moment credentialing our work. No one has endorsed this video, but we're generally endorsed by Minnesota's Commissioner of Education, by teachers, faculty, and by all 10 members of our congressional delegation. Many educators have agreed in the past that we've done some good work on some very difficult topics. None was so difficult as showing how our government, specifically the intelligence community, was directly involved in 1. The murder of President John F. Kennedy. 2. Large-scale, long-term drug running. 3. A variety of illegal secret political operations to unseat congressmen who challenged the covert powers. And 4. Intimidation or neutralization of Americans who oppose policies or who get too close to uncovering various secrets and crimes. We'll show evidence for each of these charges and cite books and videos produced by responsible sources which provide more detail than we can here. It's important to keep in mind that most federal employees are not assassins, drug runners, or covert political operatives. Most of our government employees, like most of you, are sincere, honest people trying to do something good for America. They bring us our mail, take care of our national forests and parks. They see to the safety of our foods, drugs, and country, and do hundreds of other useful things. So we want to acknowledge and honor all those good things which good people in government do, before we document crimes which some others commit. Those crimes should be deeply troubling to every American. Finally, we'll discuss what you can do to help solve the problems we cover today. Anyone can do something useful, from the youngest student to CIA and other intelligence personnel who agree that secret government, murder of presidents, and threats to citizens are not good for America. We'll begin with the Kennedy case. The assassination of John F. Kennedy has been the most thoroughly studied murder in human history, yet most of the primary evidence has never been available to citizens and has never even been seen by police homicide investigators. The CIA and FBI controlled the investigation and have refused to release most of their files ever since. There's a reason. They were the murderers. Oliver Stone's movie, JFK, has rekindled interest in the assassination and has gotten key information to a new generation of citizens about this political murder. Almost every American has heard the conclusions of the Warren Commission appointed to investigate the murder. They said a single disturbed man named Lee Harvey Oswald shot our president. 7 men and their staff produced 27 volumes of words to support this theory. They also ignored testimony from scores of eyewitnesses and a great deal of physical evidence which showed from the day of the killing that shots were fired from the front and the back of the Kennedy motorcade and that the fatal wound was a gunshot into the front of Kennedy's head. Kennedy's body and autopsy results were altered between Dallas and Washington, D.C. The Warren Commission appears to have been a calculated cover-up. This is as important as the murder itself. Lyndon Johnson appointed the commissioners. Earl Warren, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Allen Dulles, ex-director of the CIA, who was fired by Kennedy 2 years before the president was killed. Gerald Ford, a congressman who would later pardon Richard Nixon of covert political crimes. Hale Boggs, congressman from Louisiana. Richard Russell, senator from Georgia. John Cooper, congressman from Kentucky. And John McCloy, also from the intelligence community and CEO of Chase Manhattan Bank. These 7 politicians, lawyers, and spies judged the evidence denied to citizens. Over the years, many theories surfaced on who the conspirators might have been. The Mafia, Castro, the KGB, or angry Cuban exiles, all were alleged to be behind the murder at one time or another. But these villains all lacked 2 important credentials. None of them could have arranged the lack of protection during the assassination, and none of them could have provided the cover-up. That required top-level cooperation among the CIA, FBI, Secret Service, and Pentagon. The cover-up is as important as the murder because the cover-up continues. Congress tried to penetrate this deception 14 years later with an investigation leading to a report in 1979 by the House Select Committee on Assassinations. This report concluded with 95% probability that Kennedy was killed by a conspiracy involving at least 2 guns firing at least 4 shots. Far fewer Americans have ever heard of this report than know the discredited Warren Commission story. The men who killed Kennedy learned long ago that control of information is as important as control of the guns. This film, shot by a man named Zapruder, shows the moment Kennedy was shot. His head snaps back from the force of a high-powered bullet slamming into the front of his skull, blowing much of his brain out through a massive exit wound in the rear and right.
And I heard another shot. That there was a flat shot almost like that. And immediately I saw blood and brain tissue all over the back of the limousine.
This huge exit wound was seen by 26 trained personnel at Parkland Hospital in Dallas, where he was first examined. It mysteriously disappeared in the final autopsy reports. The Warren Commission talks around these and other major anomalies, ignoring testimony by 50 eyewitnesses who claim shots were fired from a grassy knoll in front of, not behind, the motorcade. To support the lone madman theory, the Commission said only 3 shots were fired, all from the back. But expert marksmen were not able to fire 3 accurate shots from the gun they claimed killed Kennedy in the 5.6 seconds available, and they found the sights were misaligned. One bullet was proven to have missed. Kennedy had been hit at least twice, and John Connolly, in the car with him, was wounded in 4 places. This meant one of those 3 bullets had to hit both Kennedy and Connolly. This bullet would have had to pierce Kennedy, then make an 18-inch right turn and turn again in order to hit Connolly, entering his back, breaking a rib, then break his arm and wrist bones. Here is the so-called magic bullet. Anyone who's hunted knows that bullets which hit bodies don't emerge this clean. One of the physicians at Dallas said later that more lead was left in Connolly's wrist than was missing from this perfect bullet, which could only have been fired into water or some other catching medium in order to get the marks from the firing gun, yet emerge so undamaged otherwise.